Oh, Bob.
Right. Right.
Okay, looks like it's 7 o'clock on December 17th. So welcome everybody to our special zoning board of adjustments, special meeting. Uh, so to begin with, let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance, if we could.
It's on.
Pledge allegiance to the flag
To the flag.
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty.
I was going to put it on. Okay. Here. Okay, so it's okay if I use it then? Sure.
All right, it looks, we've got a couple of people in the audience as well as several people on Zoom. We'll figure out how to make this work between everybody in their location. So tonight's meeting's pretty straightforward. There's only one item on the agenda. But I'll start off with the variance request that we have before us. The Pitkin Hotel, located at 329 Main Street here in Pitkin, has requested a variance for setback reduction to the downstream side boundary from 10 feet to 5 feet setback to accommodate a planned structure. To get that, I'm going to turn it over to Bob. Like to tell what you're doing and what
Mr. Pianalto, Jess here. Do we need to announce this is a public hearing before we engage Bob?
we're going to let Bob speak first to explain what we're doing, what he's doing, and then we'll open it up for a public hearing.
Thank you.
Okay. Y'all ready for me?
Just 1 second.
Stand by.
All right, go ahead, please.
Okay. Thank you all for coming to the meeting and holding this meeting for us. I appreciate it. So the reason we're asking for this variance is because when we did our underground construction in that green space, we had to add septic tanks, and we had to move those. They had to be 10 feet from the edge of the hotel, and it cut into the space that we needed for that stage. And so I talked to Chuck, and I think he sent a letter to you guys approving or giving his permission to have this variance approved. And so what we're doing is, and y'all have the set of plans with you. Is Phil there?
Phil is here, and we do have 2 sets of plans, and we're going to try to be creative. We're going to try to hold the plans up to the camera here in a little bit so Jesse can see it. And I can't see, is Roger online or not?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Can't see it from here. So we'll try to hold the plans up here in a little bit so you can see what the site plan actually looks like. The site plans are full drawings, so they weren't included with the packet, and Sarah had them for us tonight. All right, Bob, anything else you want to?
No, I mean, we're going to run underground electrical and plumbing to those structures. And we just didn't have space because of those septics in order to put the stage width that we needed. And we got, as far as the width is concerned, it should be 20 feet wide. And that was what was suggested by Drew. I don't know if you guys know Drew. He's a musician, and he also worked with Edwin on building the hotel. So he gave us some guidelines on how he felt the size of that stage needed to be for a little 3 or 4 piece bluegrass band or something like that. Plus, we're going to have weddings up there on that stage.
Okay.
Ed, do we know how deep that stage is, please?
30 feet.
So I'll try to hold up the plans here and then I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but I'll talk to what I see on the plans.
Ed, we originally had that bar, which, as you'll see, is adjacent to the stage on Chuck's side. The bar ended up being originally in a separate location, but due to infrastructure and various other things, we had to connect that bar to the stage as one building. So the stage was originally supposed to be 20 foot wide, but now it's 28 feet. And that's kind of the reason that, we had to ask for this variance.
Okay, so I'm going to talk to the plans. I don't know if Roger and Jesse can see where it says storage and stage and storage.
Right.
Point to it, please, Ed.
Okay. So the building area is this area right here that appears to be a 30-foot by 30-foot structure.
It should be 30 by 28.
It's 30 by 30. Okay, the plans show 30 by 30.
Okay. All right. Well, that's okay. Maybe it's the walls. We had to account for the walls.
Okay.
But we couldn't move any closer to the building due to the septic system. We couldn't move any closer to the hotel because of that.
Let me, if I may, let me explain, at least to Roger and Jesse, since they've not seen these plans. And I'm not, Ed and I have not seen them until probably 10 minutes ago. So it appears like the structure is a 30 by 30 structure with a storage space on the backside here that is 20 foot by about 16 wide. And then the stage Bob was talking about is 20 foot wide by about 14 foot deep.
Yes.
And on the right side is a storage area with a bar area in the front.
Yeah, we needed storage for exterior tables and chairs. When we have like say a wedding reception or outdoor events, we're going to need to put tables and chairs out there in our space. So that's why we needed that additional storage behind the bar. Now, the original storage, which is behind the stage, we're using that as a workshop. We're just kind of challenged with space in that whole property. And so this is what we finalized on what we felt we needed.
Okay, so I'll summarize over here on the behind the stage, behind the property line is a propane tank. Is that a underground or underground? Underground propane tank. And then I believe you said the septic systems are next to the building over here, which require a 10-foot, 5-foot setback from the tank.
Right.
The building to the tank to the other building. Okay. And that's the 15-foot, what Bill said was the reason of 15-foot distance from there. So I guess what is happening is we can't move the building this way because of the tank, 5-foot setback on both sides and with
because of this and because of the stairs. We moved the stairs to the green space side instead of the parking lot that city owns next to the hotel, due to the fact that our guests need to be able to come up and down those stairs and make it convenient for them to get up to the hotel.
I think you're talking the stairs at the back of the hotel coming off.
Yeah. Yeah, the ones that are in that green space.
Okay. Okay. So, Roger and Jesse and anybody else that's on Zoom, are you okay? See plans where they're at in the description we just gave?
Uh,
I'm just trying to figure out what's what on that drawing. Like, is that Main Street at the top or?
It should be on the left-hand side, Susie.
You could be way over here, Susan.
That's Main, okay. And so the hotel itself is
On
Is-
the
Down at the bottom. You only see the one wall of the hotel on this drawing.
right here. Okay, all right. I got it. So this is back toward the alley, what you're talking about.
Alley is back here, the lane's back here, yes.
Yeah, the lane. Yep. Alpine Lane, I guess. Yep. Or I don't know what. I don't know what. Sage.
I'm sorry.
Sage Lane. Yeah. Okay. Got it.
Neighboring property is Chuck Law's property up here.
Okay. Okay, just so I'll understand. Thank you.
Roger, are you unmuted? Do you want to say something?
Yeah, I have one little quick question. Probably Jesse might know. I couldn't find in the zoning ordinance what the distance from this structure to the adjoining property structures. It used to be 20 feet, and that's why the setbacks on the side setbacks, both of them added together was 20 feet. And I'm not sure it's, like I said, I don't find it in the ordinance anymore, so probably doesn't apply. But at one time, that was our defensible space between property structures, between two separate properties.
Okay, Roger, to clarify that for you, it is in the zoning code on section 12 on space requirements under C, side yard setback, which in business district is 10 feet from property line adjoining private property. So it is a 10-foot setback by the code.
You get that?
Okay, if there's no more questions on the drawing, then we're going to take the drawing down. If we need to bring it back up, we will. But at this time, then it is. Tell on the clock. It's 7:14. So I would like to open the meeting up to a public hearing if the public, either here in the Newcomb Center or on Zoom, has any comments about the variance request. Ramon.
I don't see, maybe there's more drawings, I don't see any drawings of the building itself. I guess what I would like to know is about the roof of the building, what the slope and the direction.
Ed, I'm having trouble hearing what Ramon's saying. If he could get the mic a little closer, maybe, please. Bob, you look comfortable.
I am. I just got through trying to build a playhouse for my grandson. I'm taking a break.
So I'll summarize what Ramon asked, and then he can correct me if I'm wrong. He was asking if the prints show the structure of the building and particularly the roof line. And he's looking at that now. So if anybody wants to see that,
Will you explain it so I can put it in the minutes, like which direction slope is gonna go?
So as you face it from the green space,
Okay.
facing, this is Phil Deutsch. As you face the stage and face the bar, it's a gable roof. So it sheds west and east. The reason that I asked, there are two reasons behind the setback that we're talking about. Setback between, on a property line between two properties. The first reason is for fire protection, just to create a greater space between what may be two structures on each side of the fence. The second is also for snow line. We have had in the past damage done from one building, snow sliding off one building into the next building. And now because there wasn't much, there was only, I think in that case, maybe 10 feet of separation. And the building that was damaged was the church, and it was considerable damage to the wall at the time. So, and with that in mind, I'd like the planning commission to consider, you know, what's the potential there. And there may be a solution without changing any of the design or whatnot, but one of the things that the zoning board does have an option is with any variance that you grant, you can put restrictions or conditions on that variance. And one of them, as far as the fire potential goes, might be to, you know, recommend that the building itself or the siding or something, I'm not an expert on fire, but you know, there's something in the materials used to reduce the risk of fire. And then in the case of snow, it's kind of, you know, the way, looks like the way the roof slopes, the snow could go onto the neighboring property. I don't know what the fence is there, or exactly what the fence is in regards to the property line on whose property or anything. But I think that both of those should be taken into consideration if a variance is granted to move the structure closer to the property line than the required setback. Thank you.
thank you, Ramon. Do we have any other public comments? Bill would like to say something. You're on.
This is Phil Deutsch again. In regards to what Ramon was saying about the roof sliding, it's drawn as a 412 pitch, so it's very unlikely that it would shed very fast or fast enough to make it all the way to another structure on the other side. Snow brakes could be put on that side, and they would keep the roof from sliding altogether. Just no thought if that's necessary.
Thank you, Phil.
Mr. Chairman, Jess's question, please.
All right, go ahead, Jesse.
The longer slope of that building, is that on the southeast frontage? Like downstream from the hotel?
The longer slope is
Yeah, the longer
downstream
run.
side.
Yes. And the positive of that is sunshine to melt the snow quickly, or more quick than what's shaded on the upstream side. Thank you. I was wanting to make sure that went towards the wall property.
Okay. All right. Any other questions or public comments or public comments in general, not just questions? All right, I'll then take it there are no more public comments. So at 7:21, I will close the public comments, public hearing, and I'm going to let Sarah give the staff report of her visit to the site for us.
This is Sarah. I visited with Phil Deutsch at the property, and I'm just giving a report to confirm that the site plan is accurate as drawn. Phil pointed out where the obstructions in the green space are located, including the underground propane tank and the tanks for the OWTS, which are pushing the location for this building closer to the neighbor because they cannot be built upon. I think that's all I have for the staff review. There wasn't a whole lot. He just demonstrated again where those tanks were. They have to be 5 feet from any building, and the tanks are approximately 5 feet wide. So that cuts out approximately 15 feet of buildable space in the green space area of the hotel.
All right, thank you, Sarah. So at this time, I'll bring it back to the zoning board. If there are any other comments or questions to the zoning board, before I do that, I guess before I open up even to the zoning board, we did receive a letter from Chuck Wall that addresses the variance that the Taylors are asking for at the Pitkin Hotel. You want me to read the letter, Sarah, or just summarize it? I've got it. Okay, it's a short letter, so I'll go ahead and read it. It says, Town of Pitkin, this letter is to address the variance that Bob and Pam Taylor, Pitkin Hotel, are seeking to build outdoor seating, bar, cooking areas next door between my property of 321 and 323 Main Street and the Pitkin Hotel. As managing member of the Quartz Creek Property LLC, which holds 321, 323 Main Street in Pitkin, Colorado, I do not have any issues with Bob and Pam Taylor building or utilizing space up to my property line. It is my understanding that the code requires a 10-foot setback. I'm agreeing that allowing them to maximize their property by building or using this 10-foot setback is totally fine with me, Chuck Wall. So we have the letter from the neighboring property owner that it impacts directly. So now I'll open it back up to the zoning board if there's any comments or questions from the zoning board as well.
Mr. Chairman, Jess here. I'm still
Go ahead, Jess.
understanding, even with granting the variance, there'll still be a 5-foot distance between the property line to Mr. Wall and the hotel, correct?
That is correct.
Thank you.
Roger, do you have any questions or comments?
No, I think I've got a pretty good understanding. And as this is not a living structure, it, yeah, I give some consideration to that, which with the neighbor's permission sounds adequate. I don't know if that's all you need on record. It's something from them. the issues, with setbacks, uh, if there was a fire on one piece of property and it jumps to another, whose insurance company is going to pay for what, sort of a thing. And so the fire department does their absolute best to water down the adjoining properties. And that defensible space, I think, is important. But as I say, this is probably not the kind of structure a fire would start in. Just storage, a stage, etc. So, I think we're not really talking apples for apples on that. So I don't have any great objection to it if the neighbors don't.
Okay, thank you, Roger. How about Ed Herman? Do you have any comments, questions?
No, we don't.
Okay, so this is Ed again. I'll state what my questions were, but I think they've all been answered. Coming into the meeting and not seeing the drawings until we were all able to see them at the same time. My questions were, where are the septic tanks? Where's the propane tank and where are the stairs? And those were all answered. That showed me off the drawings the reason why it was moved 15 feet off the property. And there's no way to move that closer to the hotel structure because of that. The letter from the neighboring property that concerns the most, in my mind, weighs considerable amount of weight that he doesn't have a problem with it. I do have one question on the neighboring property. Is there a structure within the 10 feet setback of his property line? I don't.
I'm pretty sure he's at least 10 feet from his fence.
Okay,
I don't know that for sure, but yeah, he should be within that 10 feet.
okay, or in excess of the 10 feet.
Yes.
Okay, and I mean we're not able to go and look at it, so I don't know. So those were really my questions. That creates what I see as the hardship of not being able to place that building anywhere else. The only other option would be to shrink the building. And I understand the 20 feet needed for a stage. And then if you make the storage shed 5 feet wide, hard to get in it. So I understand that too. So that's my only questions I had, which have been answered. Anything else from our zoning board?
Are you still in number 2 public hearing? Or are you down in 3 for the zoning board of adjustments action?
I'm in number 3 for zoning board of adjustments action, Jesse.
Thank you. When you get ready for a motion, I'd like to create one.
Go right ahead.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we grant the variance as stated on the drawings.
All right, we've got a motion to grant the variance as stated on the drawings from Jesse. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
So I have a second from Ed Herman. So with that, with a vote from the zoning board, all in favor say aye of approving the variance.
Aye.
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 All right, motion carries 4-0 to grant the 5-foot setback as a variance.
Gentlemen, I appreciate your time, and thank you, Sarah, also for presenting this to the board.
You're welcome.
So that concludes our zoning board of adjustment special meeting. I would thank all of you for your input, your questions, your comments, and for joining us tonight. With that, I'd like to adjourn the meeting, please.
Thank you guys for holding this special meeting for us.
I'll just say thank you to Bob and Pam for what you're doing for Pitkin with the hotel.
Amen.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Mr. Chairman, you're not adjourning the whole meeting, are you?
Oh, yeah. Oh, good point, Jesse. There is another item on the agenda, but that agenda item for discussing with possible action for a variance request for the Nassau property was taken care of by the Board of Trustees at last night's meeting. So that item will not be, no further action taken by the zoning board.
Thank
Um,
you.
Gentlemen, this matter goes before the trustees after you guys approve it for their vote, right?
Oh, this matter, Bob, is concluded. You have your variance.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. We'll see you guys around the second week of January.
Look forward to you coming back.
All righty. Take care.
Thank you.
All right.